When I want to transform this drawing, though, in 3D space, I'm going to be using the first frame or the last frame tool. And the first thing I'm going to show you that I'm going to do, though, is to zoom out to the reset view. And the reason why is because when I start to transform any 3D object with the first frame or last frame tool, take a look and see what happens in that the Super Transform tool automatically appears in the middle of a layer no matter what. And so if I had been zoomed in on this bird and had gone over to the Super Transform tool, I wouldn't have been able to see it. So that is something that you want to be aware of. The other thing is that this pirate ship, now I'm not sure which one I'm going to be moving, so it is helpful to either make the pirate ship disappear or you can lock a 3D element that you have it. So now when I'm using this first frame tool, again, it looks as if I'm going to be moving the pirate ship. So the thing I really want to do is to move my Super Transform tool over the pivot point. See that little P in the middle? I'm going to move that pivot point. I'm going to move it over my object. And now I can drag my object around. It doesn't interfere with the ship. I can't accidentally grab the ship anymore. Now I haven't yet moved this bird in 3D space, so I could still select this bird with the selection tool and do certain things like change the color if I wanted to, which I don't. So those are things that you can do with the selection tool while that object is still kind of flat. But once you start converting it into 3D space, you're not going to be able to make any of those drawing adjustments until later on. We'll show you how that works. But I'm going to start to move this bird in 3D space, and just like moving anything in 3D space, the only way you're going to be able to do that is by clicking on the first frame tool or the last frame tool. So here, let me click on the first frame tool, and once again our Super Transform tool is in the right place right now because we moved it there. I'm going to zoom in and start to transform this 2D drawing. Are you ready for this? Okay, here we go. It looks pretty wild to take your 2D drawings and move them in a 3D workspace. So you can really get an interesting look at it if we use the stage view, and I'm going to hit Control Shift, and now we can see how all of that works. You can even see that we've rotated that bird away from the flat plane. So look, he's flying all around. Anyway, there's some really neat effects that you can get, but one of the things is that right now, I'm going to hit Reset View. Right now the bird is not in the right space that I want him to. He's really giant and he's too far in the background. So what I need to do is start moving him in space in a way that may be more difficult to do with the Super Transform tool. I can bring him toward the front by grabbing that blue arrow, because that's the z-axis, and I can pull him toward the view and pull him back, but it's a little bit hard to get the control that I want. I can do the same with the y-axis arrow and the x-axis arrow, but again, for 3D space I usually find it easier to manipulate these shapes in the top view or in the side view, or in both. So let me show you. When you are in these views, if you click in here, you can pan around just like we can in the stage view or in the camera view. So let me reset that as well. But let me zoom in, because we can zoom in with this. And you can already see a little bit of where the bird is, but it's easier to see if you go to the first frame tool and you click on your object. It gets highlighted in all three different views. So now if I want to pull the bird toward the camera for me, it's a lot easier to do in the top view. And I can still rotate him within the top view. I can see what I'm doing. I want him pretty much perpendicular to the screen, and I can rotate him so that I can have him pretty much facing the camera, which is what he would have been doing originally if I hadn't moved him. So now it's a lot easier. You can see through the views that now he's way in front of the camera, which you can see if you look in the side view. But I can see very clearly that I'm going from front to back. I'm dragging from front to back. If I kind of turn him a little bit, the effect becomes even more interesting. I drag him forward and back. And we'll be able to use these tools for animating purposes, and that's the reason that these are called the first frame and the last frame tools. All right, so I have him way in the foreground where I want him, which I can see in both views that he's way in the foreground. He's pretty huge in the foreground, so I'm going to transform him. I'm going to make him a little bit smaller by dragging on the scale tool. And it's very easy to simply move a character on the XY axis just by clicking on the character or the prop itself. So this will be really great to have him fly through the foreground. And once again, I'm going to take the Y-axis and just straighten him out so I've got him drawn exactly where I want him to be. There's another really amazing effect that you can get doing line work within a 3D space, and I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to hide the bird for right now because it's not going to be really necessary for what I'm about to do. So I'm going to draw a river for this ship to sail on. Going to lay in a nice river here. And take my first frame and last frame tool and now roll it over. Drag it around until I have it in the exact place that I want to.